because Taco Bell isn't fueling my body, but it is certainly fueling my concern for the future. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sam and I'm super happy to have all of you here with me again this week. If you are new here and this is the first time you are seeing my face, welcome. I make weekly videos dissecting internet nonsense, so if you're into that type of thing or you like today's video, I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel and make sure you never miss another upload from me. It has been a long while since we've done a Sam's Shower Thoughts video. And if you're newer and you've not been around for a Sam Shower Thought video, let me tell you what that is. It's typically a shorter form video, it's got much less research, a smidge less editing, and it tends to be a little more stream of consciousness. It's almost like seeing the inside of my brain. I started this series originally because there are just so many things I want to talk about, and a lot of them are just random thoughts or ideas that pop into my brain, usually when I'm in the shower, because isn't that the place where you have all your brightest ideas? The one place where you don't have a pen and paper to write them down. But these things pop into my brain, and usually I'll have had them sitting in a file for a while because maybe there's not a lot of research behind them, maybe they don't warrant that much research or a long form video. But really, it's more of my opinion or my thought process on a matter, and what I want to do is just share that with you all and see what you think. And in the past, these videos have gone over pretty well because, as I always say, you all always come so prepared and you have such great opinions and you give such good feedback. So today, I'm going to share some thoughts with you, and I want to know if you have ever thought about this. I'm going to start with a very genuine question. Do you all remember a time when people were vilifying fitness influencers and vloggers for their what I eat in a day videos? There is video upon video and article upon article discussing the dangers of these videos, saying that they imply that people should eat the way their favorite influencers do, that it normalizes disordered behavior around food, and that it can ultimately lead to self-esteem and body image issues. Now, I'm not saying that I disagree with this necessarily. I also don't like what I eat in a day videos, but not for these reasons. Honestly, I don't care what people are eating. I think it's weird to watch videos of what people are eating, unless I'm looking for a very specific recipe, I guess. But also, they tend to be vlog style videos and they just spend so much time making the food so pretty, and I'm impatient. Just pour the berries out like a normal human and stop laying them in a pattern, Brenda. Nobody cares about your photogenic food. Anyway, I've clearly been thinking a lot about this, and the way that people were so afraid of this trend leading people to have bad behaviors around food. Especially because I have not heard anyone talk about this when it comes to fat influencers doing the same thing. Then a TikTok creator who I really enjoy following named Liza told a story about why she finally got serious about her weight loss, and she said something that sparked something in my brain.
What was the one moment that made y'all feel like, hey, I'm ready to start getting serious?
I can only talk about this 3 years after starting my weight loss journey because it is quite embarrassing. Every day after work, I would go to 7-Eleven and I would get a bag of Lay's potato chips, like the large one, a Nestle tea, and a Snickers bar. And then I would go to my apartment while my boyfriend was at work and I would eat the entire thing. I would plan out food stops when we would go out to eat. So I would ask him to drive me to the Chinese restaurant where I would get chicken wings or pork fried rice. And if I didn't get chicken wings there, I would then ask him to drive me to Popeyes so I could get chicken wings there. And in the world where now we mukbang, like, it is so crazy because people normalize this. It is not normal. On another situation or instance, we were at a Taco Bell and I couldn't decide if that's what I wanted. So I got a full ass meal at Taco Bell and then we bounced to Popeyes again. Are you seeing the patterns here?
When she said this, my brain exploded into a million pieces. I've had a long-held belief that the Americanized version of mukbangs are incredibly toxic, and I don't know if that's my own personal bias because I did actually struggle with BED, but the food that they eat and the food that they're glamorizing in these videos is the food that I would use to either self-soothe or self-punish. So I thoroughly do not enjoy that content. Mukbangs have been around for nearly a decade, starting in South Korea in 2010 and reaching global popularity in 2014. These videos are known for their thumbnails, where food is the most prominent element, often dripping in cheese or sauce, often featuring a person with their mouth wide open or crammed full of food. But most notable is the sheer amount of food they're going to be eating. These videos get millions of views, and I know I always say at the beginning of this spiel that I'm not going to do a lot of research, but you know me, I couldn't help myself, so I just skimmed, and I actually found that there are studies that show that frequent viewership of videos like this can cause people to develop a skewed perception of portion sizes or what constitutes a binge. And recently there's been this uptick in this trend where, in addition to eating this food and making this already toxic content, they're adding an additional element of making fun of the medical conditions that they have that probably stem from eating this way, such as Nikocado Avocado taking tons of thumbnails with this food and his CPAP machine, but also fat activist influencers like J-Bay who are smashing some fast food while they have an air cannula in their nose. But here's the thing for me, here's the real sticking point and kind of the meat of what I want to get to today. While mukbang content is bad and it skews people's views of portions and overeating, I would argue that what I eat in a day as a fat person videos on TikTok are worse for people. And the first reason that I say that is mukbang culture, as we've just seen, has gotten so far off the rails that it's kind of easy for an average person to sort of write that off as an extreme. Right? I'm not going to be eating fast food with a CPAP mask on my face, so clearly I don't have a problem with food the way that person has a problem with food. I think it's much easier for people to write that off because they're not seeing that in themselves. It's not as relatable to them as people. But what happens when people find these what I eat in a day as a fat person videos and they're seeing normal people eating normal meals? Everyday people are going to find these videos, and if they're experiencing weight issues or they've yo-yo dieted, something like this might be very appealing to them because it is very relatable content. In these videos, fat influencers often start by saying, "This is what I eat in a day as a fat person who's happy," or "This is what I eat in a day as a fat person who's not trying to lose weight." They are often laden with calorie-dense, carb-heavy meals from restaurants or fast food joints, with most eating 2 or more meals from one of these locations. The other feature is often lots of junk food snacks like Cheetos, chocolates, Ritz crackers, and sugary cereals, as well as giant coffees filled with chocolate, cream, or milk. Outside of the food, another key component of these videos is to joke about how many calories they are eating or how much they weigh. This, in my opinion, is what makes these videos so dangerous. It's the fact that they're so easily relatable to most of the population, because these people are smashing diet culture and breaking out of yo-yo dieting and sticking it to the haters by poking fun at their own weight, proving that fat people don't just eat all day, but also showing what normal people eat. I think these videos are so fascinating to watch because I understand that they're trying to smash these stereotypes that fat people are just eating all day, right? They're trying to prove that their eating is normal. And many of them will say, "See, I'm only eating 3 small meals," or "This is the first time I've eaten today." So clearly, fat people don't just sit around and eat all day. But what they don't seem to realize is that they're showing us exactly what we're saying, which is not that fat people eat all day, but when they do eat, they tend to focus on meals that are very calorie dense and very low nutritional value. With these videos popping up everywhere and the rise of fat acceptance in spaces like TikTok, I've been seeing more and more alarming content that is proving that this way of eating is becoming normalized for people on this app. One of the first clips I saw said that Taco Bell was fueling her body.
A taco from Taco Bell. You really shouldn't be eating that. I shouldn't fuel my body because why?
Then I saw that Chipotle fuels your body. Does anyone else find this alarming? Have any of you thought about this before? I am genuinely curious to know, because I wasn't sure if this was just a me thing. Again, because of my own background and my own history. I know I've shared in my story in the past that I also struggled with these things. I thought it was totally normal to eat fast food for multiple meals per day because every time I went to the drive-thru, there were always people in line. So all of my friends must be eating similarly to how I am. I'm eating the way everybody else does. It put me in this state where I didn't know what normal eating was anymore. And as I was thinking this, and I started making that video that I made about Splotchmaker, I actually came across her vocalizing this very thought process as a PSA to other fat women.
Fat people should never eat fast food is the most ridiculous fatphobic lie. I went and got Taco Bell, but if I post about it in a fat body, that's bad. But thin people posting about it, great, let's do a big haul. I am not the only person who went to Taco Bell today. There were other people in line. Some people are allowed to enjoy fast food and others are not, and that's based solely on body size. It's okay for some people to post food content, but a fat person does it and suddenly it's why we're fat. You cannot look at someone's body and tell how often they eat fast food or not. And it's not your place to judge someone who is eating fast food, for whatever reason. And I'm posting that I got fast food to try to change the narrative. We shouldn't be scared to post food content. I got some delicious bean and rice burritos and a nice Baja. Let's all mind our own business with the food that we eat and move along with our day.
With all of this evidence in mind, I'm just so curious why people are not afraid of this normalizing disordered behaviors around food, but they are still so hung up on fitness influencers creating those bad behaviors with food. I know from personal experience that EDs are not a great thing for anyone on any side of the spectrum, but when the majority of the US population is overweight or obese, and we're just learning that actually the most prominent ED is BED, I feel like more people should be talking about this. Especially because, again, this content is so dangerous. It's so relatable. Because when you think about it, who are the people who are most likely to fall into this trap? It's very vulnerable women or very vulnerable young girls who have been dieting and who are trying to break that cycle, who are going to come online and find fat acceptance or intuitive eating or anti-diet dietitians, and they are going to fall directly into this trap. And it's hard not to fall in when you're first finding it from a fat activist, and when you're skeptical and you search, you find these dietitians who are being paid by Big Food to promote the same talking points. It creates a really confusing dynamic where people don't know what to believe. At this point, I'm just like, what have we gotten ourselves into, and can we get out of it? I want to believe that there's a way out because, as you all know, I am a hopeless optimist. I just can't help myself. I want to think that we can get beyond this. But the fat acceptance and fat liberationists online do certainly make that hard because they're constantly trying to bend reality to their will. Just this week, I saw someone talking about how it was a phase that people were talking about food and how much they liked to eat food, like it didn't exist anymore.
Do any of you guys remember this moment in the early 2010s when everybody was like really talking about how much they loved certain foods? Like there was BuzzFeed Tasty, there were all these quizzes that were like, which brunch food are you? And stuff like that. And there were like socks that you could get with pizza on them and stuff like that. And a lot of people would make jokes about like, oh, I'm so fat, I love food, that kind of thing. Like, but sort of in this way of embracing like gluttony. Like everyone was kind of just like, I love to eat tons of food all the time. And I feel like this was popular from maybe like 2010 to 2015-ish. And it was like really funny and quirky and cute to be like, I love food so much. I am writing an essay about Gilmore Girls right now, and I want to talk about this food culture that happened shortly after Gilmore Girls went off the air. But I cannot find any academic literature or in fact any kind of even reporting on this cultural trend. So if anyone has any ideas on where to point me, please let me know in the comments because I really want to talk about this more. It is so interesting. And I truly feel like I just hallucinated this moment of everybody talking about how much they loved food all the time.
Girl, what? Where does she live? I need to know. Is it under a rock? Because so many people are talking about food all the time. There's the mukbang videos that we talked about. There's what I eat in a day as a fitness influencer. There's what I eat in a day as a dietitian. There's what I eat in a day as a fat person online. And not to mention the massive quantities of consumer goods that have come out recently. There's the burrito blanket. People are now decorating their houses with food decor, like Oreo and macaron stools. They're wearing food-themed clothes. It's a never-ending onslaught of food. So maybe that's why there's no research, because it's still very much here. It is the most prominent thing in the background of culture right now, in my opinion. All right, at this point, I have rambled on enough at you guys, and I'm curious to know what you think about this whole thing, because as we've seen, mukbangs and the what I eat in a day videos, I get it. I get where people are coming from, that these can lead to very harmful behaviors. But what about the what I eat in a day as a fat person videos? Are those not just as bad? Do you think that they also normalize bad behavior? And which one, in your opinion, is worse? Finally, I have to know if I have any other hopeless optimists out there. Do you think we can get ourselves out of this? And what does that path even look like? Where do we begin as a society to try to overcome things like this? I am genuinely curious to know, and as I said at the beginning of this video, you all always come with such great opinions and such great comments, so please leave your thoughts and opinions for me down below. You know I love reading your opinions, and I will be there just after this video goes up. And for all my introvert friends out there who may not feel comfortable leaving your opinion in an internet comment section, I see you. I feel you. Go ahead and leave me a taco emoji this week, because Taco Bell isn't fueling my body, but it is certainly fueling my concern for the future. As always, thank you all so much for being here with me this week. I will see you in the next one. Bye.